Hi everyone! Would you like to improve your English writing and use of punctuation? Welcome to Jen's Jyugyou. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to teach you about 8 different types of punctuation and how to use them. The first type of punctuation that I want to talk about today is a period. Sometimes people also call periods full stops. A period is the punctuation mark that you should use at the end of sentences. This is probably the most commonly used type of punctuation in English. For example, I love chocolate. Today is Monday. My name is Jen. Periods are also used in abbreviations. So if we take a look at street, you can shorten it to ST and then you put a period after it. Avenue, AVE will be av and then a period after it. Mr, you could write the word Mr, or you can just write MR with a period. So periods are used at the ends of sentences and at the ends of abbreviations. The second type of punctuation mark I want to look at is an exclamation point. Exclamation points are used at the ends of sentences to show a strong emotion. For example, I'm so excited! Wow! Exclamation points are also used at the ends of commands. Stop! Action! Our third type of punctuation for our lesson today is question marks. A question mark will go at the end of a question, which is also sometimes known as an interrogative sentence. Examples of questions could be, what are you doing? Why are you looking at me like that? What's your name? Questions will end with a question mark. Our fourth type of punctuation mark is a comma. Commas are used 4 main ways in English. The first way a comma is used is to separate items in a sentence. So, for example, I like musicals, chocolate, and Pokemon. I'm separating the items in a list with commas. Jessica, Chris, Dan, and Larry are coming to the party. The list of people who are coming, each person is separated with a comma. So separate items in a list with commas. Commas are also used before a conjunction in a compound sentence. Conjunctions are words such as and, or, because, although, however. For example, I love animals, but I don't have a pet. I should put a comma before the word but. I prefer tea, while my husband prefers coffee. I should put a comma before while. The third way that commas are used in English is to set off an appositive in English. An appositive means a phrase or word that has the same meaning as another word or phrase in your sentence, and they have parallel grammar structure. My husband, Tomo, is a great man. So in this case, Tomo has the same meaning as my husband. Okay? So my husband, comma, Tomo, comma, is a great man. So I'm setting it off from the rest of the sentence, but it has the same meaning and parallel grammar structure as the word my husband. Okay? So we do this in English when we want to make sure people understand the exact thing that we are talking about by giving a little bit more information about it. The first Prime Minister of Canada, Sir John A. Macdonald, is on the $10 bill. So in this case, Sir John A. Macdonald is the appositive, and I'm setting him apart from the sentence with commas. So in case you don't remember who the first Prime Minister of Canada was, it's John A. Macdonald. The first Prime Minister of Canada, comma, Sir John A. Macdonald, comma, is on the $10 bill. The fourth way that commas are often used is to help introduce a quote in your sentence. However, we only use commas after the action verb, such as said or told or responded. So after the verb before the quote, you should use a comma to introduce the quote. For example, if someone says,
Thanks.
Then I would make the sentence, she laughed and said,
Thanks.
You can see a comma before the direct quote. In this example, you could also see the fifth type of punctuation for today's lesson, which is quotation marks. For example, if someone says,
You're the best.
she responded, you're the best. So, you're the best is in quotation marks because this is a direct quote. I am reporting to you about exactly what she said. The sixth type of punctuation that we will talk about in today's lesson is an apostrophe. An apostrophe is used for contractions. A contraction is when you take two words and you join them together and delete part of the second word. For example, do plus not come together to create the word don't. Don't is a contraction. It's made shorter. To contract something means to make it shorter. And when you're making it shorter, you're going to add an apostrophe. So do not, don't. Does not, doesn't. Cannot, can't. Will not, won't. In these examples of contractions, you can see that they all need to use apostrophes. The other way that we usually use apostrophes in English is to show possession. For example, on the weekend, I went to my friend's house. So in this case, my friends, there's an apostrophe because it shows that the house belongs to my friend. It is my friend's possession. This is Tony's favorite play. After Tony, you have an apostrophe and an S to show possession. Whose favorite play? It's Tony's. And the name of this play is A Midsummer Night's Dream. There's an apostrophe at the end of night because it's the Midsummer Night's Dream. The dream belonging to the Midsummer Night. The seventh type of punctuation for today's lesson is a colon. A colon is used several different ways in English. One of the most common ways that it is used is to introduce a list of items. There are many things that I enjoy eating. Chocolate, strawberries, ice cream, pizza, cake. The list of items that I enjoy eating was introduced with a colon. Another way that colons are used is to separate the hours from the minutes when you are writing the time. So if I look to see what time it is 4:19. So when I write the time, I will write 4, then a colon, and then 19. It's 19 minutes after 4. Another more difficult way that we use colons is before a final clause in the sentence that explains something previously in the sentence. She studied English every day to reach her goal, passing the IELTS exam. Passing the IELTS exam is explaining what her goal is, the reason why she's studying. Her goal to pass the IELTS exam. And there is a colon in front of that part of the sentence to show that it is explaining the clause. Colons are very similar to our final type of punctuation for today's lesson, which is a semicolon. A semicolon is used two basic ways in English. The first way that it is used is to help separate items in a list when you're already using commas within that list. This is to help make it clearer for the people reading the sentence to understand the items in the list. For example, I have traveled to Seoul, Korea, Cairo, Egypt, Taipei, Taiwan, and Okinawa, Japan. So in that sentence, you already have commas to help show which city is from which country. So if I just used commas to separate each idea as well, it would be very confusing for readers. So as a result, we can use semicolons to help separate each of the places. Let me give you another example of using semicolons in lists where you already have commas. I go to a delicious pancake restaurant. I can order pancakes with strawberry, chocolate, and whipped cream, bananas, caramel, and walnuts, or blueberries, maple syrup, and ice cream. So in the list, there are 3 different types of pancakes, and there are 3 different items on each type of pancake. If I didn't use semicolons in that sentence to explain it properly, it would be very confusing for the reader to try and figure out how many types of pancakes are there, what ingredients are on each pancake. So this is why we need to use semicolons to separate items in lists that already contain commas. The last point I want to mention for semicolons is semicolons are used in sentences to help join 2 closely linked, independent clauses together when you are not using a coordinating conjunction. That sounds confusing, so let me explain more. A coordinating conjunction are words such as and, but, so, or, nor. I could join my sentences together using those words, or I could take a sentence, period, and write my next sentence. Or, to make the idea seem even stronger and more advanced in your English writing, you can join them together with a semicolon. For example, I need to stop eating so many sweets. I will get fat. These could be 2 different sentences. I need to stop eating so many sweets, period. I will get fat, period. But these 2 sentences are very closely linked, so I could use a coordinating conjunction. I need to stop eating so many sweets, or I will get fat. But if I want to make my writing even more professional and next level, put a semicolon. I need to stop eating so many sweets, semicolon. I will get fat. Use semicolons instead of using a coordinating conjunction word. The 2 ideas have to be closely linked together, and you can only do it with 2 ideas, not 3 or 4 or more, only with 2 ideas that are very closely connected. And they have to be 2 independent clauses, meaning they have to be sentences by themselves that you are joining together with the semicolon. So let me give you one more example of this because I think it's the most difficult point from today's lesson. Let's go to the library. It's easier to study there. So these could be 2 sentences by themselves. Let's go to the library, period. It's easier to study there, period. Or I can link the 2 sentences together with a semicolon. Let's go to the library. It's easier to study there. So the 2 independent sentences have been brought together with semicolon. So today you learned about 8 types of commonly used punctuation in English. And now it's time for question of the day. Today's question is, please practice writing some sentences using these types of punctuation. Please write your sentences in the comments below and see if you can use all 8 types of punctuation in some sentences. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it useful, please subscribe to Jen's Jyugyou so you don't miss any lessons. And give this video a thumbs up. Good luck with your English studies, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next lesson.